So coming to the mind of the Solanaceae, the first slide is just about general. I'm just given a few points about Solanaceae family. And from the next slide onwards, I've given one particular symptom and the remedy comparison, okay? So that it'll be remembered much more easier. So this is in general of Solanaceae. There's a violent delirium with a disposition to bite, throw things and beat. The delusions, hallucinations, imagines he sees ghosts, hideous faces, dogs, wild animals, etc. Okay, so full of delusions, full of hallucinations, full of fear, full of violence, and full of anger. Okay, so this and suspicion as well. So these are the main things which you'll find in Solanaceae. Then couple of remedies like Dalcamara, etc. They have suicidal tendencies. Even capsicum has. And homesickness, as you know, is predominantly seen in capsicum. Okay. Sleeplessness, excessive agitation, excessive overstimulation causes sleeplessness. You can compare with coffea. Coffea also has that. The mind is in such an excited state that the patient cannot sleep. Okay, so we can compare with coffea. So a couple of other symptoms: loquacity, smiles and laughs at everything. Okay. Yeah. So we'll take the first mind symptom which we see, which is the most important one, which is violent delirium. Now, each and every remedy, I'm going to deal with, I think, 4 remedies here. These 4 remedies have their own set of delirious symptoms. If you understand the differentiation, it is very easy for you. Okay. So first we'll go to the main one, Belladonna. Okay. In the delirious state, they have a disposition to bite, strike, spit, and tear things. Bite, strike, spit, and tear things. So breaks into fits of laughter and gnashes teeth. Okay, breaks into fit of laughter and gnashes teeth. Wants to bite and strike the attendants. So we see in Belladonna more of an anger and a rage, okay, which is predominating, along with congestion. Okay, so that is how we differentiate Belladonna from the other remedies, deliriums. Belladonna is associated with congestion. So wants to escape. Wants to escape is found in all the remedies, but here it is quite predominant. Wants to escape. He imagines he sees ghosts, hideous faces, and various insects. Okay. So I think in one of the books, probably N.M. Chowdhury or Kent or Philip Bailey, one of those books, they give a very beautiful description of the Belladonna child, how she runs behind furniture and hides there because he thinks that he has seen a ghost, and how the fear just takes over. So if you're interested, you can go back and refer. So that is in Belladonna. Okay. So this is the main thing in Belladonna: disposition to bite, strike, spit, and tear things, fits of laughter, biting. Okay, biting is very important. There's another symptom which I forgot to mention over here is they have a tendency to self-destruct, in the sense they, during the delirium, of course, they start hitting their head against the wall very, very hard. Okay, so that is the delirium. So it's like a destruction based on themselves. Okay, that is also you'll see in Belladonna. Okay, and remember, all of them are associated with congestion. Usually cause a turmoil in circulation. They say Belladonna usually causes turmoil in circulation. Turmoil in temperament goes to Chamomilla, but turmoil in circulation goes to Belladonna. Okay. Coming to another major delirium remedy, which is Strobonium. First things first, always remember loquaciousness. Okay, loquacious. Okay, loquacious means excessive talking without any stoppage. And you'll see this in cicuta and lachesis as well. Lachesis keeps shifting from one topic to another without any connection. Okay, that is the expression of lachesis. Okay, they talk all the time, they sing, they make verses, and they rave. Okay, makes verses. This is very, very important in Strobonium. This is how you differentiate between Strobonium and the other remedies. Okay, so makes verses. There's another remedy, makes verses or sings in rhymes, which is antim crude. Okay, remember antim crude. But Antim crude, if you take as a remedy, they are more sentimental. They're more, especially in the moonlight, they get very depressed with unfortunate love. So all those things must be there in order to give Antim crude. Okay. Yeah. So the delirium highest marks in Solanaceae is Strobonium. Okay. The delirium I'm talking about. Okay. So it is more furious, more acute than Bell and Hyoscyamus, but less congested than Bell. So this is how you differentiate between Strobonium and Belladonna. And Belladonna is usually given for acutes, acute deliriums. Okay. Strobonium you can think of if it keeps repeating, you can think of Strobonium. Okay. So this is the keynotes. This particular sentence, if you remember, it is good for Strobonium. One is praying, beseeching, and entreating. Okay, praying. Beseeching means kind of like blabbering from your mouth. Okay, every single time, like how they chant mantras non-stop, right? So that is what exactly beseeching means. Okay, incessant, incoherent talking. Okay, incessant means non-stop. Incoherent means it cannot be understood clearly. So non-stop, non-understandable talking and laughing. Okay, and it's usually associated with suppressed menses in women. Okay, so remember praying, beseeching, entreating, incessant, incoherent talking and laughing. Okay. So during the delirium, a very important modality, a very important desire for stramonium is desiring light and company. Okay, they cannot bear solitude. One of the A-grade remedies for solitude unbearable, along with bismuth. Okay, they are always aggravated in dark and solitude. If you go and read in homeopathic psychology by Philip M. Bailey, he clearly mentions in one statement that stramonium is scared of the evening. Stramonium is scared of the dusk because they know that night is coming. Night is dark, right? So they're scared of the evening because they know that night follows. Okay. And also stramonium is very scared of the color black because black is dark. Black indicates night. Okay. So these are a couple of things which you can find in that book. Okay. So they cannot walk in a dark room. Awakens with a shrill and fright due to nightmares. So this you'll find in Cinna. They always awaken with shrill and fright due to nightmares. If you remember in the first class where I took composite, I mentioned that Cinna Maritima, they have a particular fear that or delusions that there are monsters under the bed and they get dreams of monsters and that awakens them. Okay. So imagine she is double and she's lying crosswise. So this particular symptom you'll find in petroleum. It's quite a keynote symptom of the mind of petroleum. Imagine she is double and lying crosswise. Okay. And head feels as if scattered about. You'll find in baptisia. Okay. Baptisia also the same thing. In delirium, you'll find this particular symptom. But in baptisia, you have to remember about the sore, bruised, lame feeling, and also every particular place where the person lies seems too hard. Okay, baptisia, pyrogenum, arnica, bellis perennis, eupatorium. These are the main remedies. Okay, and of course, baptisia will have associated offensiveness. Very, very smelly patients they are, baptisia. And hydrophobia. So A-grade remedies for hydrophobia, which is fear of water, is first remedy you got to think of is lysinum, which is hydrophobinum, made from the saliva of a rabid dog. Then comes stramonium. Okay, very high hydrophobia. So just looking at water or just hearing water, they have hydrophobia, which is centered in the throat and causes gagging and choking. So this is about stramonium. Next, we'll go to hyoscyamus. So with these two remedies, stramonium and belladonna, we dealt with belladonna, which is highly inflammatory and congestive. We dealt with stramonium, which is partly congestive and inflammatory, but more towards a violent delirium. And in hyoscyamus, you see the opposite. There is not inflammation. There's no much inflammation in hyoscyamus. Okay. So delirium is of a non-inflammatory type. Delirium with restlessness, jumps out of bed, tries to escape, makes irrelevant answers, thinks he is in the wrong place, talks of imaginary doings, but has no wants and makes no complaints. Okay, just like if you see opium and all that, even in stramonium, they have no wants and they make no complaints. Okay, okay, just remember what I've marked in bold. They must be remembered as a Hyoscyamus delirium. Okay, so for okay, the spelling mistake is the lascivious. It's Lasci. Okay, there's a minor spelling mistake. So how do we differentiate Hyoscyamus? One is a non-inflammatory, and the second thing characteristic of Hyoscyamus is lasciviousness. This we all know. Immodesty, impolite, immodest. They do not follow the social etiquette. Okay, they're very careless people. They're very, I don't know. They do not follow the social stigma. Okay, so immodesty will not be covered. Kicks off the clothes, exposes the person, sings obscene songs, lies naked in bed, and chatters. Okay, this is the characteristic delirium of Hyoscyamus. Okay, so remember that immodesty, not be covered, exposes the person, sings obscene songs, and lies naked in bed and chatters. Okay, next. So in delirium, Hyos occupies a midway between Bell and Stramonium. It lacks the constant cerebral congestion of the former, which is Belladonna, and the violence in delirium of the latter. Okay, so Belladonna is congestion, Stramonium is violence, and Hyoscyamus is more towards lasciviousness. Okay, and of course, one more thing which Stramonium is very important is religiousness. The praying, beseeching, and all that. Religious talking, religious mania, all comes in Stramonium. Okay, very important causation in Hyoscyamus, which is prime, which rules above the other two remedies, which is unfortunate love and business failures. Very, very important. Business failures, often imaginary, leading to sleeplessness, jealousy, and suspicion. Okay. Out of the three delirium remedies, Hyoscyamus has the highest in suspicion and jealousy, which is not often seen in Belladonna and Stramonium. Okay. Incoherent speech. Again, incoherent means you cannot understand, or inclination to laugh at everything. Okay. So that is the delirium of Hyoscyamus. Okay. Let's go to Dulcamara. Very small, I think 1 or 2 points are there. That's it of Dulcamara. So nocturnal delirium, inclination to scold without being angry. This is one of the keynotes. It is given in Clark's Materia Medica. Okay. Inclination to scold without being angry, and aggravation of pains during the delirium. So that is all is there from Dulcamara with regards to delirium. Okay. Next. So we finished delirium. Now we'll go to fear. Okay. Another main important mind symptom of Solanaceae family. So first is Belladonna. Fears of imaginary things, wants to run away and hide from them. Excuse me. Wants to run away and hide from them. That is the characteristic expression of Belladonna. Of black dogs, of shiny objects like stramonium, approaching with anxiety, tormented by terrible anxiety. Okay. So I think you all know that the main fear or the main ailments form or aggravating factor of stramonium is dazzling light or glistening light or bright light. Okay. So the same thing is found in Belladonna. Okay. Next, stramonium. So the main fears which rules prime is the fear of darkness. The darkness fear is the highest in stramonium. So this I mentioned to you. He fears dusk as he knows night follows. Stramonium children will never go to an unlit room. In fact, they sleep with the lights on. Okay, stramonium children, they never go to a room without any light and they sleep with the lights on. If the room is unlit, they begin seeing monsters in the dark, and even though their parents have them in their arms, they scream. They wake up with a loud shriek and is afraid of the first thing they see. Okay, they wake up with a loud shriek and is afraid of the first things they see. Okay? So that is how scared they are of the dark. Even if their parents are there with them, they're still scared of the dark. Okay. So these are a couple of fears which you see in stramonium. Fear of dogs, they feel they're being chased. Okay. Fear of glistening light. This is very important. Okay. Very, very scared of glistening light. Reflecting off a mirror or off a water body. See that Stramonium desires light. They always want to be in a lit room, but at the same time, glistening light or reflected light they are scared of. Okay, and it causes aggravation in them. It's one of the main causative factor. Okay, so fear of being alone, always want someone. Fear of tunnels, because tunnels are always dark and you never know where a tunnel is going to lead. Okay, so fear of tunnels and what's at the end. Fears of the color red and black. Okay, red represents blood and black represents death. And fear of cemeteries. Stramonium grows and dwells in cemeteries. So this is one of the doctrine of signature. So stramonium actually, I'll tell you later when we deal with stramonium, they grow better in marshy lands. They grow better in dump yards. Okay, so that is one thing which you can remember, and of course in cemeteries. So next is hyacinthus. What do they fear? Fears of being alone, being poisoned like rustox, being bitten, being scolded, being sold, fear and suspicion of some plot against him. So imagine a family member, maybe a woman who's being very much threatened by their family, especially if you think of the in-laws. They always go through this particular thing. Okay. So fear of being sold is very, very characteristic in hyacinthus. And fear of and suspicion of something is planned against him or planned against her. Okay, that is why they always have a fear of eating or drinking what is offered, because they think that the person who's offering the food or the drink might have poisoned the particular beverage or the food. Okay, so fear of being poisoned, just remember Astox also is there. Okay, yeah. Next is tobacco. So there's only one fear, as if someone is coming to arrest him or murder him. Okay, this is tobacco. So next, coming to suspicion. Suspicion is predominantly seen in hyacinthus. It's not very much seen in belladonna and stramonium. So I'm only going to deal with hyacinthus. Okay. So suspicion that he will be poisoned by his family members, groundless. See, there's a groundless suspicion. That means it is imaginary. There is no proof that he's going to be poisoned. Okay, this is all in his head that he will be poisoned by his family members, and suspicion of being watched. Okay, so more and more suspicion builds, and it gradually goes into insanity. Okay, so that is suspicion. Jealousy again is seen in hyacinthus. Okay, so jealousy with rage and attempt of murder and erotic mania. They might go to the level of attracting the partner from another person because of jealousy by sending nude photos or anything like that. So that's how hyacinthus are. Okay. So it causes serious illness or violent nervous symptoms. This is the body expression of the causative factor, which is jealousy. Okay. Next is confusion. So first we'll see belladonna. So the mind is disorganized so that speech doesn't correspond to thought. Okay. So whatever thinking, speech is exactly opposite. Okay. Stupor. Stupor is like a deep sleep, like a comatose sleep. Recognition of friends only by hearing, with dilated pupils, mouth and eyes half open. So recognition of friends only by hearing. The eyesight or the eye sense is diminished, and the hearing or the auditory sense is active. Okay. Remember, with the dilated pupils, mouth and eyes half open. Next, stramonium. So confusion, no proper estimation of size of objects and distance, cannot walk without stumbling into things, grasps at distant objects. Okay. Dull, difficult thought, loses thought before it is uttered. The same thing which is seen in belladonna. Okay. Hyacinthus. Complete loss of consciousness, but answers correctly when asked. So like Arnica and Delirium, if you ask them a question, they'll answer properly and then they'll go back to sleep. So the same thing is there here. Okay. Loss of consciousness, answers correctly when asked. Mind is confused, does not recognize relatives. Stupefaction from strong odors or emotions. Okay. So just like Strobonium, Hyoscyamus also has no proper judgment of size or distance of objects. Okay. So coming to another thing, which is quite commonly seen in the three main delirium remedies, which is sexuality. Okay. So the first one which we should always think about in case of sexuality and lasciviousness is Hyoscyamus. Okay. Smutty talks, smutty talks and singing, lascivious mania, nymphomania, amarative, onanism. Onanism is nothing but your excessive masturbation, and refuses to cover the genitals. Okay, smutty talks and singing, onanism, lascivious mania, then nymphomania. Okay, and amarative. Okay, yeah, and of course, remember they always refuse to cover the genitals. So in women, you can see this lasciviousness during lactation. Okay. So next is sleep and dreams. Think of Belladonna. Okay. First, sleepy yet cannot sleep. So this is actually found in all the three remedies. Okay. Sleeps with half open eyes, which is like lycopodium with ice cold feet. So remember, Belladonna has what do you say? Everything rushes like ferrum. Everything rushes to the face and the head. So the extremities are left ice cold. Okay. So dreams are frightful of murder, street robbers like Natramure, then danger from fire and swimming and fearful, just fearful dreams. Okay. Next, stramonium. So I told you before, they cannot sleep in a dark room, must always have the lights on. Great desire to sleep but cannot sleep. I told you it is commonly seen throughout all the remedies. So during sleep, sexual excitement, spasms, emissions, restless legs, keeps moving about. Okay. Sexual excitement during sleep. So just like Belladonna, dreams are frightful with half open eyes. Next, Hyoscyamus. So this is the most important symptom from Hyoscyamus mind you should remember. Sleeplessness of nervous, excitable people, especially after business failures, which are often imaginary. So it could not actually be an actual business failure. The person might be feeling a business failure, which leads to sleeplessness. Okay, this is given in keynotes. So dreams of lasciviousness and wakes up with a fright. Okay. Yeah. Next is capsicum. So there in Hyoscyamus it's because of business failure. Here it is because of homesickness. Okay. Especially it is polar opposites. In Hyoscyamus you see there are very nervous and irritable people. Here they're very indolent and melancholic. So it is polar opposites. Okay. So sleeplessness seen in people with homesickness, especially of the indolent and the melancholic. So these are a couple of main important mind symptoms which I've given to you, and I've compared the main mind remedies.